The first sign of trouble came from the mining world of Kepler 442b on a Tuesday morning. The automated mining systems kept working, but no one answered the daily check-in calls. Space Traffic Control tried for 3 days before sending a patrol ship to investigate. What they found made seasoned space pilots sick to their stomachs. The entire colony was dead. Not just the main settlement, but every outpost, every research station, every living thing on the planet. The only sounds were the hum of machines that kept running without their operators. Ambassador Vex 9 received the report while having breakfast in his crystal tower on Zalonia Prime. The blue-skinned diplomat nearly dropped his morning drink when he read the death toll. 12,000 colonists gone in less than a week. The medical team that investigated found no signs of violence, no weapon residue, nothing that suggested an attack. People had simply started dying. Within a month, 3 more worlds reported similar incidents. The pattern was always the same. First, people complained of headaches and dizziness. Then they lost coordination, stumbling when they walked. Within days, their nervous systems shut down completely. The disease spread faster than wildfire, jumping from planet to planet through normal trade routes. Dr. Kaylee Neth, the Confederation's top medical officer, worked around the clock trying to understand what was killing her people. She had samples from all the affected worlds, tissue from dozens of victims, and the most advanced medical equipment in known space. None of it helped. The pathogen seemed to change every time she thought she understood it. It makes no sense, she told Ambassador Vex 9 during their daily briefing. The disease attacks neural tissue, but it does so differently in each victim. Sometimes it targets motor functions first, sometimes cognitive abilities. It's like it adapts to each individual host. The ambassador rubbed his tired eyes. In the past 2 months, the death toll had climbed to over 2 billion souls. Entire star systems were going dark as the plague consumed world after world. Have you found anything that works against it? Any treatment at all? Nothing, Dr. Neth admitted. We've tried every antiviral compound, every neural stimulant, every immune booster in our medical database. The pathogen seems resistant to everything we throw at it. Panic began spreading through the Confederation faster than the disease itself. Healthy worlds started refusing ships from infected systems. Trade routes collapsed as captains abandoned their normal runs rather than risk exposure. The economy that had held 17 star systems together for 3 centuries began falling apart. Ambassador Vex 9 knew he had to act. The Confederation's own medical resources were failing. They needed help from outside, from species with different approaches to medicine, different technologies. He called an emergency session of the Galactic Medical Council. The council chambers on Station Harmony had hosted many crisis meetings over the years, but nothing like this. Representatives from 43 different species gathered to hear the Zalonian plea for assistance. Ambassador Vex 9 stood at the center podium, his normally perfect appearance showing the strain of leading a dying civilization. Honored delegates, he began, his voice carrying clearly through the translation systems. The Zalonian Confederation faces complete extinction. A plague of unknown origin has already claimed 12 billion of our people across 9 star systems. Our best scientists cannot identify the pathogen, cannot stop its spread, cannot treat its victims. He activated a holographic display showing the progression of the disease. Red dots marked dead worlds, yellow showed infected systems, and green indicated the few remaining healthy planets. The red vastly outnumbered everything else. We formally request immediate medical assistance under Article 7 of the Galactic Health Accord. Any species with relevant medical knowledge, any treatment options, any research that might help us understand this plague. We are prepared to share all our medical data, grant access to our affected worlds, and provide whatever compensation is necessary. The response was swift and devastating. One by one, the alien delegates stood to deliver their refusals. The Thraxi Empire, masters of biological engineering, sealed their borders completely. Their representative didn't even attend the session, sending only a recorded message stating that the risk of contamination was too high to permit any contact with Zilonian vessels. The Archean hegemony, whose medical facilities were the most advanced in the galaxy, offered sympathy, but no assistance. Our analysis of your data suggests a pathogen beyond current medical understanding, their delegate announced. We cannot risk exposing our population to such a threat. Even the peaceful Meridian Alliance, known for their humanitarian missions, declined to help. The rapid mutation rate of this pathogen makes it too dangerous for our medical teams to approach, their speaker explained apologetically. Dr. Elena Rodriguez sat in the human delegation section, watching the proceedings with growing anger. Humanity had only joined the Galactic Council 22 years ago, after first contact with a Zilonian exploration ship. They were still considered newcomers, their medical technology primitive compared to species that had been practicing interstellar medicine for thousands of years. But Elena had spent the past week studying the data from the affected worlds, and she had seen something the other delegates had missed: the progression patterns, the way the disease spread through populations, the timing of outbreaks. It all reminded her of something from Earth's own dark history. She thought about the plagues that had swept through human populations throughout history: the Black Death, Spanish flu, engineered bioweapons from the resource wars. Humanity had learned to fight diseases not just through medicine, but through understanding their origins and motivations. As the last delegate finished their refusal and began filing out of the chamber, Elena made her decision. She approached Ambassador Vex 9, who stood alone at the podium looking like a person watching his entire species die. "Ambassador," she said quietly, activating her personal translator. "I've been reviewing your medical data. My team thinks we might be able to help." Vex 9's compound eyes focused on her with desperate hope. "You would risk contact with our infected worlds, even knowing what happened to the others who tried?" Elena nodded firmly. "Earth has experience with biological threats. We've faced diseases that others thought impossible to beat. But I need to warn you about something. Humanity doesn't approach medical crises the same way other species do." "What do you mean?" "When we send medical assistance, we send everything we think might be necessary. That includes protection for our medical teams, research facilities that can't be easily destroyed, and enough firepower to make sure no one interferes with our doctors while they work." The ambassador looked confused. "Firepower? For a medical mission?" Elena smiled grimly. "Ambassador, in human experience, the things that create plagues don't usually want them cured. If someone engineered this disease, they might not appreciate us trying to stop it. We've learned to bring along the tools to deal with that possibility." "You believe this plague was deliberately created?" "The patterns suggest it, but we'll know for sure once our teams examine the evidence. The question is, are you willing to accept human medical assistance, even if it comes with human military protection?" Ambassador Vex 9 thought of the billions already dead, the worlds going silent one by one, the children dying in hospitals across his civilization. The decision was easy. "Dr. Rodriguez, if your people can save even one Zilonian life, we will accept whatever assistance you offer." Elena activated her communication device, sending a priority message back to Earth. "This is Dr. Rodriguez. Confirmed biological warfare scenario, unknown pathogen, genocide in progress. Recommend full medical intervention protocol. We're going to need everything." 3 weeks later, the first human ships would arrive at the edge of Zilonian space. What the aliens saw would challenge everything they thought they knew about medical assistance missions. 3 weeks after Dr. Elena Rodriguez made her promise, the first human ships dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Zilonian territory. The Zilonian patrol ships that detected them immediately sent confused reports back to Fleet Command. "Sir, we have 12 human vessels approaching our border," reported Lieutenant Zex 4 from his patrol craft. "But these don't look like any hospital ships in our database." Commander Vel 7 studied the tactical display from the border station. The lead ship was massive, easily twice the size of a normal medical vessel. Its hull carried the Red Cross symbol of medical assistance, but it also bristled with weapon arrays and defensive systems that belonged on a battleship. "Are you certain these are medical ships?" he asked his sensor operator. "The transponder codes identify them as the Human Medical Expeditionary Force," came the reply. "But sir, I'm reading enough firepower on that lead ship to level a small city. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Nightingale, watching the Zolonian patrol ships maintain their distance. His ship had been designed specifically for medical missions in dangerous areas. The sick bays could handle thousands of patients. The laboratories rivaled anything built by major civilizations, and the weapon systems could protect it all from anything short of a full battle fleet. Captain, we're receiving multiple hails from Zolonian Border Control, reported his communications officer, Lieutenant Amy Zhang. They sound nervous. Morrison smiled. Put me through to their fleet command. Admiral Lisa Park materialized as a hologram next to Morrison's command chair. She was commanding the mission from the heavy cruiser UES Hippocrates, which carried both the expedition's main medical research facility and enough Marines to secure an entire planet if necessary. Captain, what's the situation with our hosts? She asked. They seem surprised by our ship designs, Morrison replied. I don't think they were expecting a medical mission to arrive with this much hardware. Then they don't understand how humans approach medical emergencies. Patch me through to their fleet command. The main screen activated, showing Commander Vel 7 in the Zolonian border station. The alien's blue skin had taken on a pale tint, and his compound eyes kept darting between different tactical displays. Commander, this is Admiral Lisa Park of the Human Medical Expeditionary Force, she announced calmly. We're here in response to your government's request for medical assistance, permission to enter Zolonian space and begin operations. Commander Vel 7 looked uncomfortable. Admiral Park, we appreciate your response to our crisis. However, our sensors indicate your ships are heavily armed. Can you explain why a medical mission requires such extensive weaponry? Admiral Park glanced at the tactical display showing her fleet. Behind the Nightingale came the destroyers UES Fleming and UES Pasteur, both named after famous doctors but equipped with enough missiles to destroy orbital installations. The support ships carried field hospitals that could be deployed under combat conditions and research laboratories protected by military-grade armor. Commander, humanity has learned that medical emergencies often occur in dangerous environments, she explained patiently. Our ships are equipped to continue medical operations even under hostile conditions. We're prepared for whatever we might encounter. But surely a plague outbreak doesn't require military-level protection. That depends on what caused the plague, Admiral Park replied. Our preliminary analysis suggests this pathogen might not be natural. If someone created this disease deliberately, they probably won't appreciate our efforts to cure it. The implications of her words sent a chill through the Zolonian command center. They had focused so completely on treating the disease that they hadn't seriously considered the possibility it might be a weapon. Dr. Ben Carter joined Admiral Park on the communication link. Unlike medical officers from other species, he wore both a white coat and combat armor. His medical bag contained surgical instruments alongside military-grade sensors and emergency weapons. Commander Vel 7, I'm Dr. Carter, Chief Medical Officer. For this mission, he introduced himself. We're ready to begin treating your people immediately, but we need complete access to the affected worlds, including areas that might be considered security risks. What do you mean by security risks? The commander asked. If this plague is artificial, there might be evidence of its origin on the infected worlds, labs, research facilities, deployment sites. Our medical teams need to examine everything, and they need protection while they work. Commander Vel 7 looked at his tactical officer, who shrugged helplessly. The human medical mission was unlike anything in their procedures manual. Admiral Park, I need to consult with higher authority. Your approach to medical assistance is unprecedented. Commander, while you're consulting, our advanced medical teams are ready to begin saving lives, Admiral Park said firmly. Every minute we delay, more of your people die. We can discuss our methods later. The line went quiet for several long minutes. Finally, Commander Vel 7 returned with authorization from Zolonian High Command. Admiral, you're cleared to enter our space and begin medical operations. However, our government requests clarification on your rules of engagement. Our rules are simple, Admiral Park replied. We're here to stop this plague. Anyone or anything that interferes with that mission will be dealt with appropriately. As the human fleet moved deeper into Zolonian space, reports began spreading throughout the galaxy. The humans hadn't just sent doctors to help with the plague. They had sent what appeared to be an invasion force claiming a medical mission. Dr. Rachel Kim, the expedition's lead disease specialist, worked in the Nightingale's primary laboratory while surrounded by tactical displays and weapon status monitors. She had spent years studying Earth's history of biological warfare, and everything about the Zilonian plague felt familiar in the worst possible way. "Admiral, I've completed my initial analysis of the pathogen samples," she reported over the ship's communication system. "This disease shows clear signs of artificial engineering. The genetic markers, the mutation patterns, the way it targets specific neural pathways. This was designed." "Designed by whom?" Admiral Park asked from the Hippocrates. "Unknown. But whoever created it has extensive knowledge of Zilonian biology. They knew exactly how to target this species for maximum lethality. Captain Morrison studied the sensor readings from the nearest infected world." "Doctor, if this plague was engineered, why hasn't it burned itself out? Most biological weapons are designed to kill quickly and then fade away." "That's what concerns me most," Dr. Kim replied. "The pathogen should have exhausted its viable hosts weeks ago. The fact that it's still spreading suggests someone is actively maintaining it, possibly releasing new variants to keep the plague active." The implications hit everyone on the bridge simultaneously. This wasn't just a medical emergency. It was an ongoing biological attack by an unknown enemy who was actively trying to exterminate the Zilonian species. Admiral Park activated the fleet communication system. "All ships, this is Admiral Park. We are no longer operating under standard medical assistance protocols. We have confirmed hostile activity targeting the Zilonian population. All units are authorized to treat this as a combat zone." The transformation was immediate. Medical research teams began establishing fortified positions on infected worlds. Combat engineers started building protected laboratories that could withstand orbital bombardment. Marine units prepared to secure any sites that might contain evidence of the plague's origin. Lieutenant Zhang looked up from her communication console. "Admiral, we're receiving a priority message from Ambassador Vex 9. He's asking to speak with you directly." The main screen activated, showing the Zilonian ambassador in what appeared to be a bunker deep underground. His usually pristine appearance showed the strain of leading a civilization under attack. "Admiral Park, thank you for coming to help us. But I must ask, are you certain this level of military preparation is necessary for a medical mission?" "Admiral," Park smiled grimly. "Ambassador, you asked Earth for doctors. We're giving you the full human approach to medicine. That includes eliminating anything that makes our patients sicker." "What do you mean?" "If someone is actively trying to kill your people with biological weapons, then stopping that someone is part of the medical treatment. We don't just cure diseases, Ambassador. We eliminate their sources." Ambassador Vex 9 stared at the human admiral for a long moment, processing the implications of her words. The humans hadn't just come to treat the plague. They had come to hunt down whoever was causing it. "Admiral, what if the source of this plague fights back? Then they'll learn why humanity survived long enough to reach the stars." Admiral Park replied, "Dr. Rodriguez warned you that human medical assistance comes with human military protection. We meant every word of that warning." As the human fleet established its base of operations in the heart of Zilonian space, other galactic civilizations watched nervously. The humans had brought doctors to fight a plague, but those doctors carried weapons and traveled in warships. It was a combination no one had ever seen before. What they were about to discover was that human medicine included treatments the galaxy had never imagined. The human medical teams began their work on Kepler 442b, the first world where the plague had appeared. Dr. Sam Lee led the initial landing party, his team moving through the silent streets of the main colony in full protective gear. Unlike medical teams from other species, each human carried both scanning equipment and military weapons. "This place gives me the creeps," muttered Sergeant Maria Gonzalez, the team's security chief. Her job was to protect the medical personnel, but the empty city felt wrong in ways that had nothing to do with disease. "It's too clean. When plagues kill this many people, you usually find signs of panic, abandoned belongings, crashed vehicles. This looks like everyone just went to sleep." Dr. Lee stopped at what had been the colony's main hospital. The building stood intact, its automated systems still running, but no one had answered emergency calls in over 2 months. Maria, bring your team. We're going inside. The hospital's interior was pristine. Medical equipment sat ready for use, computer systems displayed normal readings, and the pharmacy was fully stocked. But there were no bodies, no signs of the chaos that usually accompanied a plague outbreak. "Doctor, you need to see this," called Corporal Jack Murphy from the hospital's lower level. "There's something down here that doesn't belong." What they found changed everything. Hidden beneath the hospital's basement was a secret laboratory, far more advanced than anything the mining colony should have possessed. The equipment was alien, but not Zolonian. The power signatures didn't match any known technology in the Galactic database. Dr. Lee activated his communication device. "Admiral Park, we've found something. There's a hidden lab under the hospital with unknown alien technology. This wasn't built by the colonists." "What kind of lab?" came Admiral Park's voice from the orbiting fleet. "Biological research, focused on neural tissue manipulation. And Admiral, the lab is still active. Something's been maintaining it, keeping the research going even after the colony died." Back aboard the UES Nightingale, Dr. Rachel Kim received the data transmission from the surface team. What she saw in the laboratory records made her blood run cold. The facility hadn't been studying the plague. It had been creating it. "Admiral, this lab was a bioweapons production facility," she reported over the ship's communication system. "They were manufacturing custom pathogens designed specifically to target Zolonian neural systems. But the really scary part is the production logs." "What do they show?" "The lab has been producing new variants of the plague every few weeks. Someone's been actively improving the disease, making it more virulent, more resistant to treatment. This isn't a plague that got out of control. It's a weapon that someone keeps upgrading." Admiral Park felt a chill of recognition. During her years in Earth's military, she had studied the resource wars and the biological weapons that had nearly destroyed human civilization. The pattern was unmistakable. "Dr. Kim, are you saying someone is actively trying to exterminate the Zolonian species?" "That's exactly what I'm saying. And based on the production schedules, they're planning to keep doing it until every Zolonian is dead." The implications spread through the human fleet like wildfire. This wasn't a medical emergency. It was genocide being carried out with biological weapons. And whoever was doing it was still out there, still producing new plague variants. "Captain." Morrison joined Admiral Park in the Hippocrates Command Center. "Admiral, if someone's actively maintaining this plague, they must have other production facilities. The lab on Kepler 442b couldn't supply enough pathogen to infect multiple star systems." "My thoughts exactly. We need to find the other labs, and whoever's running them." Dr. Sam Lee's team on the surface made the next breakthrough. Deep in the hidden laboratory's computer systems, they found shipping records and communication logs. The facility had been receiving supplies and instructions from other locations throughout Zolonian space. "Admiral, we've got coordinates for at least 6 other production facilities," Dr. Lee reported. "They're all hidden on worlds that were hit by the plague. The pattern is always the same. Secret labs built under legitimate medical facilities." "Any indication of who's running these operations?" "The communication logs are encrypted, but our computers are working on them. What I can tell you is that these people have been planning this for years. They've been studying Zolonian biology, mapping their colonies, identifying the best locations for maximum biological impact. As the human teams investigated more infected worlds, the scope of the operation became clear. The unknown enemies had established a network of bioweapons labs throughout Zolonian space, each one producing custom plagues designed to kill as efficiently as possible. But on Zolonia Prime's third moon, Captain Morrison's investigation team found something different. Instead of a hidden laboratory, they discovered an automated facility that was still operational. The base was empty of living beings, but its computers and production equipment continued working under remote control. "Admiral, this facility is definitely not Zolonian," reported Chief Engineer Tony Rodriguez. "The architecture is wrong, the materials are unknown, and the power systems use principles I've never seen before. Whoever built this They're not from any species in our database. Dr. Kim analyzed the samples and data from the automated facility. The technology was advanced beyond anything possessed by known galactic civilizations, but it was also specialized in a very specific way. Admiral, these beings are biological specialists, she reported. Everything in this facility is designed for one purpose: studying other species and creating pathogens to kill them. This isn't a normal civilization that happened to develop biological weapons. This is a species that exists specifically to eliminate other forms of life. The pieces began falling into place. An unknown alien species, hidden from galactic society, had been systematically exterminating other civilizations using biological warfare. They studied their targets for years, engineered perfect plagues, and then waited for their victims to die before claiming the empty worlds. Dr. Kim, can you determine where these aliens come from? Admiral Park asked. I'm working on it. The communication logs from the automated facility show data being transmitted to coordinates outside known space. But, Admiral, there's something else. The facility's computers contain biological data from dozens of species. The Zeolnians aren't their first target. The revelation hit the command staff like a physical blow. An entire species dedicated to genocide had been operating in secret, for who knew how long, killing entire civilizations and claiming their worlds. Admiral, incoming priority transmission, announced Lieutenant Zhang. It's from Admiral Park's counterpart in the Zelonian fleet. The main screen activated, showing Admiral Keth 9 in the Zelonian Fleet Command Center. The alien's blue skin showed the stress of commanding a military during a species-wide emergency. Admiral Park, our long-range sensors have detected ships approaching the outer system. Unknown configuration, no response to communication attempts. They're heading directly for our remaining populated worlds. Admiral Park studied the tactical display as the sensor data came through. 12 ships, sleek and organic-looking, moving with the cold precision of a species that had done this many times before. Admiral Keith 9, those are probably the people who created your plague. They're coming to finish the job. What do you mean? The standard pattern for biological warfare is to deploy the weapon, wait for the target population to die, and then move in to claim the empty worlds. They think your species is finished, so they're coming to collect their prize. Admiral Keith 9's compound eyes widened with understanding and rage. They've been planning this all along. The plague, the timing, everything. Admiral, we need to coordinate our fleets, Admiral Park said firmly. These beings have been committing genocide for possibly centuries. They've killed entire civilizations, and nobody even knew they existed. But they made one critical mistake. What's that? They targeted a species that asked humanity for help, and we take medical emergencies very seriously. Admiral Park activated the communication system connecting all human ships. All units, this is Admiral Park. We have confirmed hostile vessels approaching Zelonian populated worlds. These are the beings responsible for the biological warfare campaign against our patients. All ships are cleared to engage with maximum force. The human fleet began moving into combat positions. Medical ships that could fight, hospital facilities, protected by military armor, and doctors who carried weapons alongside their medical equipment. The galaxy was about to witness something unprecedented, a medical mission that included eliminating the source of disease through direct combat. Dr. Rachel Kim worked frantically in her laboratory as the ships prepared for battle. Admiral, I've broken the encryption on the enemy communications. They call themselves the Kethavar, and they're exactly what we suspected. A species that eliminates other forms of life to claim empty worlds for themselves. Any weaknesses we can exploit? Actually, yes. Their obsession with genetic purity has made them vulnerable in ways they don't realize. I can create countermeasures, but Admiral, I need those ships intact. If we can capture their technology and databases, we can protect not just the Zeolnians, but every species they've targeted. The Kethavar ships entered the Zelonian system like predators coming to claim their prey. 12 sleek vessels moved in perfect formation, their organic hulls gleaming under the light of distant stars. They had done this countless times before. Arrive after the plague did its work, scan for any remaining life, and then claim another empty world for their expanding empire. Admiral Lisa Park watched the enemy ships approach from the bridge of the UES Hippocrates. Her fleet was positioned between the Kethvar and the remaining Zilonian colonies, medical ships and warships working together in a formation no other species had ever attempted. "Admiral, the enemy vessels are scanning our ships," reported the tactical officer. "They seem confused by our presence." "They weren't expecting resistance," Admiral Park replied calmly. "These beings are used to fighting defenseless plague victims, not organized military forces." Captain Jake Morrison's voice came through the communication system from the UES Nightingale. "Admiral, Dr. Kim has finished her analysis of the captured Kethvar technology. She says she can create biological countermeasures against them, but she needs live prisoners for final testing." "Understood, Captain. We'll try to take some of their ships intact." The Kethvar fleet commander, designated Prime Cleanser Vex Alpha, studied the strange ships blocking his path to the infected worlds. The vessels carried medical symbols, but they also mounted weapons that could threaten his forces. In thousands of years of cleansing operations, the Kethvar had never encountered anything like this. "Sub-Commander, identify those vessels," he ordered. "Unknown configuration, Prime Cleanser. The ships appear to be from a species called humans. They claim to be providing medical assistance to the infected worlds." Vex Alpha felt something like amusement. "Medical assistance? The contaminated species is already dead. These humans are wasting their time. Should we destroy them, Prime Cleanser? Signal them first? Perhaps they can be convinced to leave peacefully." The communication came through to Admiral Park as a cold, mechanical voice speaking through translation systems. "Human vessels, you are interfering with a natural cleansing process. The contaminated species cannot be saved. Withdraw immediately or face destruction." Admiral Park activated the main communication array, her image appearing on screens throughout both fleets. "Kethvar vessels, this is Admiral Park of the Human Medical Expeditionary Force. We are here to provide medical assistance to the Zilonian people. Your biological weapons campaign against them ends now." "You know of our operations?" Vex Alpha asked, surprise evident even through the mechanical translation. "We know everything. The hidden labs, the engineered plagues, the systematic genocide you've been committing for centuries. Consider this your final warning. Cease all biological warfare operations and surrender for medical examination." The Kethvar commander paused for a moment, processing the implications. "Medical examination? You're diseased," Admiral Park explained matter-of-factly. "Any species that exists solely to kill others is suffering from a severe psychological pathology. We're here to cure that condition." Vex Alpha's response was immediate. The Kethvar ships opened fire without further communication, their weapons designed to sterilize planetary surfaces rather than fight other starships. They had never needed to engage in ship-to-ship combat before. What followed was less a battle than a demonstration of the difference between exterminators and warriors. The human fleet moved like a living organism, medical ships and warships supporting each other in ways the Kethvar had never imagined possible. The UES Fleming and UES Pasteur, destroyers named after famous doctors, delivered precise strikes that disabled Kethvar weapons without destroying the ships entirely. Admiral Park wanted prisoners, wanted information, wanted to understand the full scope of what humanity was dealing with. "Target their propulsion systems," she ordered. "Dr. Kim needs those ships intact for her research." The Kethvar fought with the desperation of a species that had never faced organized resistance. Their weapons were powerful but imprecise, designed for genocide rather than military engagement. Within minutes, half their fleet was disabled and drifting. Dr. Rachel Kim coordinated the capture operations from her laboratory aboard the Nightingale. As human boarding parties secured the disabled Kethvar ships, she worked frantically to complete her biological countermeasures. "Admiral, I've accessed their main databases," she reported. "The scope of their operations is even worse than we thought. They've been systematically exterminating species for over 3,000 years, hundreds of civilizations, billions of sentient beings, all killed with engineered plagues. Any indication of how many more they might have targeted? Their computers contain biological profiles for every known species in the galaxy. They've been planning to kill everyone eventually." Captain Morrison's boarding teams brought back Kethvar prisoners for questioning. The aliens were tall, pale creatures with oversized heads and multiple arms perfectly designed for laboratory work. They showed no emotion as human interrogators, led by both military specialists and medical professionals, questioned them about their operations. "Why do you kill other species?" Dr. Carter asked one of the captured Kethvar scientists. "Contamination. Must be cleansed," the alien replied in a flat, emotionless voice. "Only pure life should exist in the galaxy. All other forms are diseased to be eliminated. What makes you think you're pure? We are the first, the original. All others are mutations, corruptions of the perfect form. They must be removed so clean, worlds can be properly inhabited." Dr. Kim studied the interrogation recordings with growing understanding. "Admiral, they're not just genocidal. They're completely insane. Their entire species has developed a collective psychosis that makes them see all other life as contamination. Can it be treated? Theoretically, yes. But Admiral, there's something else. I've been analyzing their genetic structure and I've found something remarkable. Their obsession with genetic purity has made them incredibly vulnerable." Dr. Kim's final breakthrough came when she gained complete access to the Kethvar biological databases. Not only could she create treatments for their plague weapons, she could design countermeasures that would target the Kethvar themselves. "Admiral, I can create a biological agent that will target their species specifically," she reported. "Their genetic purity makes them sitting ducks for the same kind of biological warfare they've been using on others." Admiral Park considered the option for exactly 3 seconds before shaking her head. "Doctor, we came here to stop a plague, not start one. We'll handle this the human way." "What's the human way?" Overwhelming force applied with surgical precision. The human fleet moved on the Kethvar home system with medical supplies, research equipment, and enough firepower to eliminate planets. But instead of weapons of mass destruction, they deployed something the galaxy had never seen before: aggressive medical intervention on an interstellar scale. Every Kethvar world received the same package delivered by human ships that arrived, without warning. A complete genetic analysis of their species showing exactly how vulnerable they were to biological warfare. Detailed plans for plague weapons that could target them specifically. Medical records proving that humans could manufacture diseases that would kill every Kethvar in the galaxy within months. And a simple recorded message from Admiral Park that played on every Kethvar communication system simultaneously. "This is Admiral Park of the Human Medical Expeditionary Force. What you're seeing is humanity's prescription for your civilization. We could deploy these biological weapons and give you the same treatment you've given others. Instead, we're offering you a choice." The message continued as Kethvar leaders across their empire watched in growing terror. "Cease all biological warfare operations immediately. Provide complete medical data and treatments for every species you've targeted. Dismantle your plague production facilities and submit to medical monitoring to ensure your psychological condition improves. If you refuse, or if you ever again threaten another species with biological weapons, we will demonstrate that human medicine includes treatments you never imagined. We can cure your genocidal tendencies permanently by removing the source of the disease." The Kethvar, faced with their own extinction delivered through the same methods they had used on countless other species, chose survival over genocide. Within days, they began transmitting medical data for hundreds of plague weapons and treatments for species they had targeted. 6 months later, the Zilonian Confederation was completely plague-free. Their populations recovered using treatments derived from captured Kethvar research. The galaxy learned a new lesson about humanity that day. When humans offered medical assistance, they didn't just bring doctors. They brought everything necessary to ensure their patients survived. Admiral Park's final report to Earth Command was characteristically brief. Mission accomplished. The Zeonians requested medical assistance for a plague outbreak. We provided comprehensive treatment, which included surgical removal of the source of infection. Patient prognosis is excellent. The pathogen has been completely eliminated and is unlikely to return. Back on Earth, Dr. Elena Rodriguez read the report with pride and amusement. The galaxy had asked humanity for doctors, and humanity had delivered exactly what they promised.